Topic of today is, listen closely now, the message of delayed gratification must replace the message of miracles and breakthroughs. In our churches today, we focus too much on the message of miracles and breakthroughs. And I am coming to you to say, rather, the message of instant gratification must be the replacement. We must start a campaign whereby our churches stop preaching and laying too much emphasis on miracles, because that way it's like we are looking for the miracles. We are running after miracles. We must come to a place whereby we change that focus in our churches and begin to tell people not to run after miracles while still believing in miracles. So we still believe in miracles, and we still want people to keep on believing in miracles and trusting God for miracles when necessary. We don't want people to run after miracles anymore as they are doing right now. But we want people to rather know that they can create their own miracles with their own hands, that they could actually take responsibility for their own countries. They can take responsibilities for their own destiny. They could take responsibility for their own lives. Yes, God is able to do miracles. God is a miracle working God, but God is always there. But the only person that is able, the only person that is the only condition for which miracles will come is only after you've done your best. You've got to do your best first. You've got to, prove to God that you deserve the miracle only after you have proved to Him that you have done your best. If we don't do our best and are constantly asking for miracles, what that would mean is that we are abjugating our responsibility to God. What that would mean is that we are telling God to go ahead and do for us what we were supposed to do for ourselves. And that is the height of irresponsibility. So God does not want us to be irresponsible. God does not want us to, because of Him and because of His kindness, He doesn't want us to lose our sense of responsibility. He doesn't want us to lose our sense of manhood just because He is able to help us. Helping us does not incapacitate us. God does not want us to be morally incapacitated, and He does not want us to be spiritually incapacitated, and He does not want us to be especially mentally incapacitated. But what happens to people when they begin to rely on miracles more than they rely on hard work is that they begin to lose their capacity. They begin to be mentally incapacitated. What happens to people when they begin to rely more on miracles than they rely on the dignity of labor is that at a point they stop working altogether. What happens when people begin to emphasize miracles and breakthroughs all the time is that they bring up the culture of indolence and insolence upon the culture, upon the country. People become indifferent and lazy. People become irresponsible. People become, people are laid back. But even more importantly, in a country and a society where miracles and breakthroughs are being emphasized, people lose the sense of priorities. People misplace their priorities. So the misplaced priority will be that the believers will rather go to church than to go to work. The believers will rather wait for God's favor than to build factories and industries that will be able to supply their needs. The problem with it is that people will rather be praying and fasting for God to come and fix the economy and deliver them from recession instead of them to roll out processes of production. So there are so many downsides to the message of looking for miracles. There are so many downsides to the message of pursuing and following after miracles. There are so many downsides to the message of instant gratification. So instead of instant gratification that we always look forward to through the message of miracles and breakthroughs, we should begin to put that down. We should begin to de-emphasize that. We should begin to let people know that God is not a magician, and that the church is not it's not a magical center, and that the words of the pastor are not magical words, and they are not witchcraft words. We should begin to let people know that no, it is virtues that make a man, not prosperity that makes the man. It is not money that makes the man. It is virtue. We should begin to let people know that it is virtuous to delay your gratification. We should let people know that it is not a vice, and it is not a show of weakness when you live by the principle of delayed gratification. But we should let people know that delayed gratification is what makes the man. We should let people know that it is only the man that is able to delay his gratification that is a man indeed. We should let people know that only through delayed gratifications could you be able to come up with other virtues and character traits that really qualify you to call yourself a human being. We should let people know that delayed gratification will lead to patience. We should let people know that patience is what is needed to see through any process of production. We should let people know that people who don't have patience don't achieve anything in life. We should let people know that it is through delayed gratification that patience comes. And if you have patience, you'll be able to see through any goal that you want to pursue. We should let people know that through patience you can work for hours. It is only thanks to patience you can persevere. We should let people know that without perseverance, that nothing great comes to pass in life. We should let people know that it is perseverance that leads to great accomplishments. So delayed gratification is one of the greatest virtues that our nations and our churches need to embrace. Because it is this virtue that will give us the foundation for both patience and long suffering. And it is long suffering and patience that will give us the composure to be able to start long-term projects that will last for generations. It is only through patience and long suffering that we'll be able to build our industries. It is only through patience and long suffering that we could come up with inventions for the future. It is only with patience and long suffering that we could actually come up with technological know-hows to fix our nation's economy. It is only through patience and long suffering could we do researches and build research institutes and technological universities. It is only through patience and long suffering could we stay long enough in the laboratories to discover all the things that are plaguing, the answers to the things that are plaguing our society and our world today. We should let people know that it's only through patience and long suffering could we get our youth to once again fall in love with the libraries. It is only through long suffering and patience could we get them to begin to read again and to begin to discover the secrets upon which our world stands. But without delayed gratification, there is no patience. Without delayed gratification, there is no endurance. Without delayed gratification, there is no perseverance. Without delayed gratification, there is no persistence. And without delayed gratifications, there is no future. There is no tomorrow, there is no stamina, and there is no strength. And delayed gratification is the mother of them all. Without delayed gratification, there is no self-control. Without delayed gratification, there is no power over self. Without delayed gratification, there is no willpower. Without delayed gratification, there is no purposeful pursuit. Without delayed gratification, goals don't get met and objectives don't get accomplished. So delayed gratification is a major virtue that is gone missing from our national life and from our pulpit. And since I've made my point to you guys that the values of a nation emanate from the pulpit of the land, and since I've made the point to you that even though value systems come also from the educational system, but we know that in the nation and the continent that we come from, that even educational functionaries and bureaucrats belong to one church or the other. So they also depend on the values that are being dissipated from the pulpits. And also value system come from families. But every family member in our nation belongs to one church or the other. So they get their values also, from where? From the churches they go to. That's why our churches and our pulpits are key to refocusing and redirecting our society and our nation. Yes, value systems also come from the mass media of the land. But we know that all our stars and our actresses and our directors and film producers are all church members. So they get their value system from the churches as well. That's why if we fix our churches, we can fix our nation. That is why I don't think that the greatest challenge that we have in our continent, in our country, is coming from the politicians. I think politicians are less problem for us. I think our greatest challenge and problem is coming from our pulpit, my dear. I think our pulpit and our churches, either they are Muslim mosque or Christian churches, are responsible for any kind of menace that we see in the society today. I think these churches are responsible for creating the value system, the faulty value system that we now see prevailing in our nations and even in our governments. So, for things to change in our life, in our national life, we must address the question at the very root of it. We must address the foundation upon which any society is built. And the foundation upon which any society is built is called values. It is values that inform your decisions. It is values that dictate your responses. It is values that tell you what your attitudes and patterns must be on a daily basis. We fed on values. Values are as a result of the information you are exposed to on a regular basis. Values come to you by what you hear. Values come to you by what is spoken about around you. Values come about through what has been taught to you. Values come to you through the things that you constantly hear. The conversations at the dinner table. The messages that you are hearing while seated in the pews of them churches. Those are the basis for your foundation. For your values and foundation. Your moral foundation and character, they directly depend on what you hear. And since we trust the church more than we trust most of the institutions, we are at the mercy of the pulpit. And so that's why if the pulpit of Nigeria today and Africa is busy propagating the messages of miracles and breakthroughs, that means indirectly they are telling us that we only need to depend on God for anything we need because we are actually totally helpless without Him. And that means that we don't need to develop our professionalism. That means that we don't need to develop our expertise. And that means that we don't need to be as skillful as we really needed to be, or as other nations need to be skillful. And that when they tell us that it is miracle that makes the day, and it is miracle that decides our future, that means we don't really need to work hard anyway. We only need to pray hard. So that means that if they tell us that miracles and it's only God that will come and fix our problems, so the only person that I need to work on is work on God and convince him why he must come and give me what I need and not the other guy. He must give me, he must not give the other guy, because the other guy is asking for the same thing. And that is why that's why we come to God and tell him that we need this breakthrough or we need that breakthrough, for which he had actually given you hands to work with. We need this breakthrough, we need that breakthrough. You are asking from God. Meanwhile, he has given you brain to fix it. We come to church, we are asking God to bless this, to bless that, whereby you just need to go with your feet and make it happen. But because we've been told continuously, and because we don't believe what is true, we believe only what we continuously hear, we end up believing what not the truth, that it is only upon us our destiny belongs. I mean, our destiny is only upon our hands and shoulders. We don't believe that anymore as such. We believe that, without God we can't do anything. Why? That might be true to some extent, but God has already given us life. He has already given us everything, not letting us know that without him we cannot do anything, because without him, if he removes the oxygen, we are dead. We cannot do anything. But we have taken that to the extreme, telling people that without God they cannot do anything. But let me tell you the truth. God has provided everything everybody needs to function on it, so much that it will be irrelevant. God himself makes himself irrelevant in the day-to-day running of the earth. He makes everything under laws. He put everything under principles and laws, so that everything will are from him, but they will function autonomously without him coming to put it on every minute, or for him to come and be hearing the cry and prayer of everybody every second, and coming to run to come and help every individual person. He has given us universal good, universal provision, universal abundance, universal necessities for life and godliness. He has given us everything that we need. But when we overemphasize the need that without God we cannot do anything, when we overemphasize the fact that we need God for every little thing, then we begin to depend just on miracles to even come out of our house. Do you know that I know a country where people don't even leave their house without praying? Because they know that there will be armed robbers on the street. Instead of starting an NGO, instead of starting a company, a security outfit to address the problem of armed robbery, instead of fixing the problem of armed robbery that is making them to be afraid of going out of their house, everybody, millions of them, will be praying before they leave house. We don't even need millions of them to fix the problem of security. We just need a few that are thinking. God already gave them the mind. God already gave them the strength, the knowledge, the know-how to fix the problem of armed robbery, but they will not. Because as long as God protects me and my family, I'm fine. Even though that same God was somewhere when they killed the other guy on the other street or in the other house that also was praying to that same God for protection, and he was robbed and killed. God didn't act. And you will say, we don't know why. Maybe he didn't pray long enough or strong enough. Maybe he didn't go to the right church. But I'm still here. I'm not being killed because, it's mercy of God. So what about the other guy that is being killed? He didn't have mercy of God. He had the wrong God. He prayed the wrong prayer. All of you are praying to the same prayer. You are praying to the same God. All of you go to the same church. All of you are praying the same way for God to come and protect you. Yeah, his house got robbed. His car got snatched. And you are thinking, well, I'm fortunate. God answered my prayer. You know why it's the other guy that got robbed this time? It's because next time it's going to be you. It has to start from someone. Your prayer, not mine. Your prayers, not mine. Yeah, not minding all your prayers. It's going to get to you one day. And prayer not going to solve it. So why is God indifferent? Why didn't God protect the other guys in your church? You want to tell me that there is no other human being in that country that has been attacked despite the fact that he goes to church? You want to tell me that there is no other human being that has been killed even though they also pray? So why didn't God act? Is it just because you are the one who's praying right? So he's protecting you because you prayed well or you go to the right church? No, it's because your turn has not come yet. They will reach you too. And your prayers won't help. I tell you that. And the banner of your church or the stickers of the church you go to won't help too. Even your own pastor. Let him, if God could help. He's praying now. Why does he need the defense, the security outfit? Tell your pastor, let him take all the securities off. Because God is protected. He knows how to pray, isn't he? Is he not the one who's praying for you for protection? Let him pray for himself for protection too. If he really believes that it's God that's supposed to provide security, let God provide security now. Let him send the boys home with all the weapons and all the security that he's doing for himself. So a man that cannot protect his own self and has to have a whole security, somebody, that because it is right that it is you that's supposed to provide security, it's not God. It's not God's business to come and be bringing all security, doing security for every family differently. You are supposed to build a security not just for the pastor, that can hire security for himself. All of us, it's not God's business to bring this security, I'm coming to deal with armed robbers in your country. It's not God's business. It is your business. It is my business. It is our business. And instead of them churches and pastors to just be bringing security to protect themselves, they are supposed to be using that to come together and bring a universal, a total security system for the whole country that will deal with the problem of armed robbery in the country generally, not just for themselves and for their members. But the way the churches have preached it is that it is miraculous protection you need. Yes, but even though we all need God's protection, God's miraculous blessing. I don't downplay that. I'm not saying that God doesn't protect, that we don't need God's protection. We need, but on daily basis, we need to build our own structure, infrastructure, security infrastructure. And then after we have done our best, after we have built our vigilante groups, security group, and, brought about the solution to security situation as much as we can, then we now ask for God to protect us. But the way it is right now, nobody is building national security. Everybody is waiting for the government. Everybody is waiting for somebody to come, then everybody just pray in their houses. And, that God or armed robbers shouldn't come to them. Or as I go, I cover myself with the blood of Jesus. I cover myself with the Ribena and with the whatever, So, it's just because we're egocentric. And this is what this message of instant gratification does. These messages these messages of miracles and breakthroughs, they just feed us with, the entitlement mentality. And making us to be thinking about ourselves. And we all become selfish, egocentric, and and driven only by our own self-protective instincts. And we pray to God for ourselves instead of for the general good. So the message of miracles and breakthroughs has done so much harm and evil to our society. Now those messages, if we want to go forward as a nation, must be replaced. The messages emphasizing miracles and breakthroughs must be replaced if our nation must go forward. Every well-meaning Nigerian must raise their voice against these kind of messages. Because these messages encourage instant gratification. These messages make us to think that we can get something for nothing. These messages make us to think that it is only God that decides human destiny on earth. But whereas everybody's destiny is in their own hands. These kind of messages, make us to think that we are all paralyzed and paralytic, and that we cannot function, we cannot think, that we are totally a nation of morons. These kind of messages make us to think that we are not human, and we are not totally human. These kind of messages reduce us from being human. We lose our humanity thanks to these kind of messages. These kind of messages deny us the use of our brain and of our minds. These kind of messages, they prevent us from taking responsibility for the issues and the problems of our countries. These kind of messages make us to stand by why our nation is being destroyed and our community and society is being run down. So we really need to, every one of us really need to stand up against the messages that say, only God can do this, only God can do that. We need to begin to campaign and raise our voices against all these messages that say we need miracle today, we need miracle tomorrow. And some people think that there is a reason for it because of poverty. Well, that's an excuse. Poverty must be erased by hard work. Let me tell you that one. Poverty is not going to be erased by manna again. Yes, God did that, but he only did that one time in the wilderness, okay? He's not going to send down any manna this time. Go cultivate your ground. Go do agriculture. Go do what you need to do. By the way, people are not sharing these messages yet, and I really want to encourage you, if you believe in what you are hearing, and if you think that this message must go around, let's go ahead and share the message, please. Let's go around and share the message. Look under your video. You'll be able to see, you look under your video, you'll see a button or two there. Go ahead and press those buttons, and then you'll be able to get that. That allows you to get a copy of this message. And when you are sharing it, write something on it. Write some remarks. Write people why they need to listen to it. Tell people why it is necessary for them to listen to it. Let them know why they need it. So what I'm trying to say, friends, is that the message of delayed gratification is what we need. Our pulpits must replace these messages of miracles, breakthroughs, with the message of instant gratification. Delayed gratification. I'm going to talk to you about delayed gratification. I'm going to talk to you what delayed gratification means. But first of all, I just want you to know, and for your eyes to be open, how deadly the messages of miracles and breakthroughs have been to our communities, to our countries, to our nation, to our society, to our families, to our churches. That, our churches must know that, yes, even though we believe that God does miracles, yes, even though we believe in the miracle power of God, but God will do the miracles only after we have done our own part. We should not be emphasizing miracle too much. We should not be pushing for miracles too much. He said the signs and what shall follow you. Miracles are supposed to be following us. We don't even talk about it. Jesus has not, there is nowhere you will see in the Bible that Jesus was preaching about miracles. He's not preaching, that is not his focus. He's told his disciples that do not rejoice about these things, that demons are obeying you, that healings are taking place, and all the miracles are don't rejoice about these things. Rejoice about the kingdom, that your names are written in the book of life. Rejoice about the reality of the kingdom of God. Those are the things that you are supposed to be rejoicing about. So we must know that we are doing a disservice to our country. We are doing a disservice to our nation when we keep on pushing the messages of miracles and breakthroughs. Like, for example, this last month, or this month of December, even starting from November, there are some churches that are having program every day. There are some churches that are having programs every day, making people to come to church, come and sit down there, not just on Sundays. This is from Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday. And every time they go, they have to give some money or offering and go and pray and asking God to do things for them. Instead of them to, you know how much work they would have created, you know how much services they would have produced, you know how much would have been added and contributed to the economy. And we're talking about economic recession. We create economic recession by all these kind of messages. These messages alone are responsible for economic recession. You know how many inventions would have been discovered if all these people have been in the laboratories researching? If they had been in the research institutes, all these millions of people in the churches? You know how many discoveries we would have gotten for answers for all our problems plaguing us? You know what kind of answers people would have been discovering if all these people have been in the libraries? Writing, thinking, and searching, researching. You know how many answers we would have gotten? But people become lazy on a national level. I mean, many people, it is when they get to Europe, they discover that they have really been lazy before. We think we're hardworking when we're at home. But when you get to Europe, when you have to go to work every day, then you discover that, wow, we were not doing anything back at home, really. Because we have been taught not to work. We have been taught to pray. We have not been taught to be diligent. We have been taught to fast. We have not been taught to the dignity of labor. We have been taught to be faithful to the pastor and to the denomination and to show up every Sunday. Not just every Sunday. Some people show up every day. We have turned our churches and our members to slaves. Through these messages of miracles and breakthroughs, people are now more like slaves than they are human beings. We have made our members to be zombies. People cannot question anything in churches. People just have to gum like cattle and just do what pastors tell them to do. They hang up their brain in the car park and in the garage and come to the church empty-headed and not question anything and just do things because the man of God has said it. Anyway, let me go to the second part of this. So what is the message of delayed gratification? Because otherwise I would not get to talk about that. So what is the message of delayed gratification, my dear? Delayed gratification is the ability to be able to control yourself and convince yourself that you need to restrain yourself and refrain from getting immediate or instant benefit for anything you are doing right now, so that you could work harder, be more persistent, and be more steadfast to produce more, do more, that at the end of the day, you'll be able to get better reward, greater profit than if you had received it immediately. Let me say that again in a simpler way. Delayed gratification, therefore, is simply making a choice, constantly convincing yourself. Make yourself make a choice to hold back. Convincing yourself to constantly refrain yourself from pursuing immediate gain or profit, but rather to constantly make a choice to limit that ability or that desire of the flesh, that animalistic desire to grasp right now, to take, get something now, be rewarded immediately. But delayed gratification is more than that. Delayed gratification is also the assurance that when I delay my satisfaction right now and my reward, that I must, delayed gratification involves a solid faith in the laws of nature and in the laws of God, in the laws of creation, that if I could delay that gratification, you must have a solid faith that you will get better reward eventually. That after delaying gratification comes greater reward, better profit, and greater glory. You must have that faith. This faith is part of the reason why delayed gratification is worth it. If you don't have the faith in principles, and if you don't believe in absolutism of the truth, if you don't believe that the principle of delayed gratification will eventually reward you better than to have instantly gained what you needed, then you will not do it. So the faith in the absolutism of the truth is an integral part of delayed gratification. You must know, because some people will say, oh, not in Nigeria, why should I study hard? Why should I work hard? But the principle of delayed gratification says, if you work hard, you will be rewarded at the end of the day. If you study hard, finish first class. If you study hard and you are the best in your class, you finish first class, that delayed gratification, what is delayed gratification in getting first class? Delayed gratification in getting first class is that the reason you got that first class is because you didn't go to play for instant gratification when others were pursuing instant gratification. You didn't go to discotheque and waste your life for instant gratification. But instead of going to get instant gratification like all others, play around and do all that, you are denying yourself that instant gratification. You delayed that gratification by going to pay the price of going to the library to study, going to the laboratory to research, and you are not doing things that could give you instant pleasure right now. You are denying yourself pleasure of the moment. Because you know that when you get to first class, when you try hard and you become the very best, that you will be rewarded. But if you have more faith in the systemic failure of the country, which is normally what happens in developing countries and Nigeria in particular, that, oh no, the system will not work. Oh, even if I get first class, and you will be reminding yourself of only the bad examples. Oh, I know somebody there who finished first class and never got a job. Oh, so why should I try? If that is the kind of mentality you are having, then you don't have faith in absolutism of the truth. You don't have faith in principles. You don't believe in principles. But if you don't believe in virtues and principles, you are not building your life on anything. You are building your life on thin air. So even though everybody that finishes first class in your country doesn't get a job, but you must believe in the absolutism of the truth of God. You must believe in the absolutism of God's word and in the integrity of that word. And the integrity of your belief must say, I don't care how many got the job or how many didn't get the job, but I am going to do what is right anyway. Delayed gratification demands from you to say, I will do what is right, because the thing that is right will reward me better at the end of the day. What is right is more profitable. What is right, it will reward. But other people will be convincing you, and they'll be telling you that what is right does not matter, that what is right does not work in this society. It could work somewhere. It could work in that country. It could work in Japan. It could work in America. It could work in Europe. But in our country here, it won't work because everybody is corrupt. But you must be more convinced and dedicated to the integrity of the truth, to the integrity of the word of God, to the integrity of what is right, than you are committed to the flaws and of humanity around you. You must be more committed to the truth of God's word and to the truth of what is right than you are committed to the flaws of the society that you live in. So one of the strongest dimensions of delayed gratification is to convince people to have faith in the truth. And that's what I was referring to the other day when I spoke about the school thought of philosophy. You know, the worldview, two philosophical schools of the world, and two worldviews, philosophical worldview of our world. The philosophical worldview that we belong to is the idealistic philosophy. Is the idealism. It's called idealism. What idealism means is that we believe in the power of the invisible virtues. We believe more in the power of things that we cannot see, that they override the things that we can see. So I must believe that what is right, and it will win at the end of the day. I must believe that the truth is more powerful than the reality that I'm seeing right now. If the reality that I'm seeing right now is that my nation is corrupt and nobody who finishes first class gets a job, I don't care even if they don't get a job. I know that I still must finish first class. I still must believe that doing your best, knowing better than everybody else, will reward me better at the end of the day. I still must have that faith because not because I believe in Nigeria or I believe in the country or I'm not talking about what I see. I am talking about the principle. The invisible principles are more valuable, they are more rewarding, and they are more everlasting, they are more sustaining than the physical things, reality that I'm seeing right now. So even though the reality that I'm seeing right now is that these things don't work here, but I don't care if they work or they don't work, they are still the truth anyway. That is why I'm a believer. And that's why I don't see God, but I believe there is God. That is what idealistic people believe. That is the idealistic, worldview in philosophy. But the school of thought in philosophy says that, what I don't see, but it's not working now. I don't see the result. So I don't see the result, I don't believe it. That is the materialistic worldview. The materialistic worldview is what the atheists believe. And they say there is no God because I don't see God. They believe that only matter, even human beings come from matter, with only, neutrons and things, only things that are seen and could be felt. Only the reality that we see really exists. The reality that we don't see don't matter. So they will believe, for example, that if the government is corrupt, it means that all those principles of truth, of like hard work, integrity, delayed gratification will not work because it's not working. Show me the fact, show me the evidence that it works. So, but we believe that no, virtues are more powerful than the reality that we see right now, because all the realities of houses, buildings, television, industry, technology, electronics, all these things come from the invisible world. They come from the world of ideas. Ideas are invisible. So they are invisible stuff that create the visible things. If I believe in the right invisible ideas, if I believe in the right invisible those virtues that are right now invisible, if I will believe strong enough and long enough, from out of those virtues, from out of those truths will come another reality that will confirm what I believe to be true. And my belief system will create another reality that will supersede and replace all the temporary realities of evil that we are seeing right now. So, but we Christians sometimes say we are Christians, we believe in God, which is supposed to be idealistic worldview. That the things that are not visible, values and virtues, are more powerful than the reality of things that we say. But even though we say we are believers, but we don't understand what is worldview. We don't even understand the concept of worldview. So we say, okay, I am a believer, but things don't work in that country. Things don't work. They cannot work. See now. So we are saying we believe in the invisible stuff that as they are stronger and they will come to replace the visible things. But we are saying, I believe in God, but see what I see now. So we don't really we don't have a worldview that if I believe in God, that means that virtues must be stronger for me than the things that I see. But I still submit myself and make myself a slave of what I see. I became incapacitated. And I become enslaved by what I see because I don't have faith in my own invisible realities that I profess to believe in. So therefore, I became enslaved by the physical things that are around me. And the things that are around me damage me. And I become a slave to them. And I say there's nothing I can do. So man therefore becomes a slave to the reality around him. Man therefore begins to pray and to God to come and help him, remove the flood instead of building the bridge himself. The flood, instead of him building the irrigation system or the blockage for something, he begins to pray that God should transport him, through the forest from one town to the other, because he wants miracle, instead of himself to begin to say, no, God has made us to be, creators with him. He has made us to manage the earth. So if he has made me to manage the earth, to have dominion on the earth, so I can subdue this forest. Let's clear the forest. Let's build road. Instead of waiting for God to come and teletransport me from here to the other city, let's build road. Instead of waiting God to come and do miracle and teletransport me from one continent to the other, let's build planes. He has given us dominion to rule here. Let's build planes. That building of planes comes from the belief that I am made to rule and reign. That invisible belief, that invisible promise is what plane comes from. That invisible promise that I am the one to manage the earth is where roads come from. That invisible promise that we are here to represent God, to act in the place of God, is where hospitals come from. Instead of just waiting for God to come and just heal. We build hospitals also. And those things are only possible when you have delayed gratification. You must be able to, because for you to build hospital, you must be able to, delay immediate answer, your desire for immediate answer right now. You must be able to have patience to research, to build a structure, to build a sketch, to be able to research how hospital is made. That could take you years. That is patience. So you are delaying you are denying yourself immediate gratification and using that time to develop projects that will be able to help you to build that hospital that will now serve people for generations and generations to come. But people who don't have that delayed gratification mentality, they want miracle now. So they would rather go to the man of God to lay hands or to give offering or to give prophetic offering and go to the mountain and go and ask, I'm okay. But you are okay, but maybe other people are dying. That's why you need to be in the hospital. So that it's not just who is okay. Yes, God protected you from the armed robbers, but it's killing other people. That's why we must deny ourselves the comfort of just ourselves having the protection and go through the pain of building a security system for the whole land. Until our messages change in the churches and every church begins to talk about delayed gratification rather than instant gratification of miracles and breakthroughs, we will never build a nation that is sustainable, that works, and that is able to make a difference in our world.